been reposted, so hopefully that will get started to redo the tours and, just really redo all that and make it efficient. In the Vietnam exhibit, they have gone through, our staff has, and they have a punch list of the exhibits that would need to be refurbished or repaired or updated or upgraded. There will be a cost estimate coming, and the priority for that is safety. There are artifacts that we have on hand that are being placed and added to current cases and upgrading them. They're bringing out a lot of artifacts that maybe haven't been seen in a long time, and which is sort of almost to me a free upgrade to do that. They're planning to do this to all the older cases, and it has been received very well to be doing that. One of the things one of the big takeaways from visiting World War II Museum was in the question of accepting artifacts from people when they want to bring you something and add it. And their policy at World War II is, does it tell a story? Does the item tell a story? And that's there. So they were excited to know about that and kind of add that as part of the thinking here. On that same vein of artifacts, NAVC has said we may not have any Clamagore artifacts, which was part of the deal, when they took it, that we would get enough back to create some kind of exhibit for the Clamagore. And I don't know why they said it. I'm sure that in your report you can tell them way more about all that. But anyway, I'll let her talk about that. But anyway, on the other stories you can't believe, Meredith said this lady found in a dumpster or in a dump a scrapbook with photographs from World War II from the Clamagore, and they're in good enough shape that they'd be able to do something with it and use that as a basis to create that exhibit.
Use that here? Will that be here, Susan?
On the ship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
And Meredith can tell you more details about that too if I got it wrong.
Yeah, no, I'm happy to. So NAVC said that we do not own the ship, so we are not going to be able to take anything off of it. And then literally the very next day, I got an email from a woman in Florida that her husband works in a landfill, and they found an immaculate condition scrapbook from a USS Clamagore sailor, and the photos were in beautiful shape. So she packaged it up and mailed us the whole thing. There's dozens and dozens of photos of the inside of the submarine, of the cruise around the Bahamas and the Caribbean, and of the sailors on board the ship. So I was like, all right, we don't need any Clamagore parts. I can do something else. So yeah, and they're in amazing shape. I'm happy to show it to you all if you want to see everything afterwards. But so I'm not losing sleep over it. We're gonna do something else and pivot, and it's gonna be really good.
I mean, providential in person.
Yes, absolutely.
I think it is really interesting that NAVC decided they own the ship after we recycled the Clamagore. After we paid for that. Now it's their ship, right?
Right.
Interesting.
Exactly.
So,
It was our problem, but it was their ship.
there you go. Well, anyway, so like I said, I'm sure Allison can give you more information on all that. One of the other things at the World War II Museum is how they use oral histories when they have taken these things, and of course they're hard to listen to the whole thing, but they use snippets for their exhibits. So you hear the voice of somebody just telling a little bit about the aircraft or the whatever. Mm-hmm. And so that's a wonderful takeaway that we're able to do. We've got everything to do that. So that's a great upgrade. We had a great presentation about a Japanese flag that was carried by a soldier that they learned about at the museum, and where they're repatriating the flags back to families when they find them from World War II, because, and I'm going to quote, they count them as these flags because the parents, the families believe that the person that carried the flag connected them through spirit somehow. But that item, those flags are called non-biological human remains.
Yeah.
So I think we have one that we're
Believe
going to
it.
send,
Four.
four, that we will be sending to Japan for that purpose.
Okay.
Brian told us on his adventures into the museum world, he's about a 3D printer, 4D printer, 3D printer, and that where this one of the ships, was it the Cone, Battleship Cone? Is that what
Battleship Cove.
Battleship?
It's a
Cove.
it's a museum. Several ships are at Battleship Cove.
And they have these printers, and they've got, I think he said 15 of them, or $15,000 per printer. But in a room, and if a lens breaks or a window breaks, some artifact that has to be recreated, they just put it in the printer and get one. And so they've got all these all over their museum, knobs and all kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And lenses, they can repair or replace a colored lens, and it looks perfectly, absolutely real. And so if somebody does continue to steal stuff, they can, it's not as big a deal, and they can actually have things out where people can touch them. Great meeting, and as far and then in education, this is just that much of their report. They did an incredible job and had an incredible trip. Hannah also visited. Did what? I saw that. Came back with tons of ideas, and she found one of her takeaways was there was great value in meeting colleagues. Update on the Flight Academy is that the staging area for the resiliency equipment is where we were going to redo that place. So the plan B for now is to here, where the Flight Academy currently is to add another room that's right there beside it, adjacent to it, and they can expand and because part of the goal of the new Flight Academy was to be able to have more kids. So that'll help with that. They'll be cleaning that out now and replacing televisions and all that kind of stuff. We also heard about plans to rebuild the education center, which is below deck somewhere. It's 3 rooms. I have no idea even where it is, and so Allison is offering us a tour to show us that. So
Take a field trip.
Talk about that. All right. But one of the other takeaways from when y'all went to, I guess, NAVC or
Hensa.
when they went to Hensa, was Patriots Point has the highest number of students visiting in the United States.
Really?
So there you have it. Great report.
In the whole country.
That's what Keith gathered. Yeah.
Is he white?
Can't hear back here.
Oh.
He's speaking about school board issues.
I was repeating what you were saying about the number of students in the United States that come to Patriots Point. The high number.
As in structured programs, tourists actually come on board the ship into a structured program. Our numbers are the highest, mainly because if you look at a lot of the other ships, they have to work around education or event programs, so they don't have a 7-day week. But yes, as the number of students that participate in structured program, and also it's a testament to our group sales and the number of students that they bring in for guided tours. If you add those numbers in, it's incredible what we are able to accomplish in students visiting the actual ship.
What would be the last known number of students?
Well, right now we're on track to do. I think we just passed the 10,000 mark, and if you look at that, it's all coming after January, so that's about 17 straight weeks, 5 days a week, having at least 100 to 180 kids on board. Not to mention the extra 100 to 200 that can be coming through group sales. Which is why in March we know we will have that one day where we're going to have 50 buses out there. Because it is amazing when you put those two numbers together, how many students actually come visit the ship, whether it's our structured program or group sales.
Thanks. And the last item we had was congratulations to Katie for organizing all those trips. So that can be our report.
I did think that the museum and Education Committee yesterday. It was probably one of the most positive committee meetings I've sat in a long, long time. It was really, really good stuff. Just a couple of things out of the Development Committee. Been a big 30 days or so here with the Yorktown Association coming in. There were about 300 or so here on the ship for that. I was able to come down for the dinner. It was really a good event. Tuskegee Airmen here Sunday, and I think we got that article to y'all about Frank Shorter getting all the 109, I think it's 109 hoses now for the Laffey and the Yorktown. If you haven't looked at that, the article itself, it started off about Frank and the work he was doing, but it was one of the best articles I've seen recently about all the things that are happening here.
Mhm.
And I just wonder if you haven't looked at that, we can get a link to you. It was in the Post and Courier 3 weeks ago, maybe, Chris. And I'd like to get it to the legislature.
Yeah.
I think we ought to get it, because it's the Post and Courier telling how great things are going here.
It's a good idea.
And also, Condé Nast named the Charleston Harbor Resort the best resort in the country, I believe, and like the 45th in the world or something here recently. Really nice thing. So, Darwin, Finance?
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As of September 30, we have $14,450,000 in cash on hand. And this is an increase of $315,000 since the start of the fiscal year. If you take a look at all the categories behind the numbers, lease revenue and gift shop revenue are the only two categories where there's real improvement. The other categories, attendance, camping, parking, etc., are down slightly. So, but still, it's a positive report, and to have $14.5 million cash on hand is not bad. Mr. Chairman, that completes my report, unless there's any questions.
Sure. Any questions about that or development?
Why the lease revenue went up $239,000?
That's because we keep charging people more to rent.
I think
Well,
It's the same. It's the same leases. It's just where there's some
their
escalator.
percentage raises, so as revenue goes up, our lease revenue
The
goes up.
percentage
But
of
part, part of it too is that, Bennett's lease revenue goes up 10% goes up another 10% every year.
Right.
So it's up,
Okay.
and plus, once the parking lot comes on, it'll take another.
It looked good this
bump
morning.
again. Yeah.
Over time, when he builds all this stuff, that will continue to increase the lease revenue.
Just one thing, real quick, Mr. Chairman, and to our finance chair, a brilliant report, and it's wonderful to see the numbers. I might want to characterize those as a capital needs fund, since we know our
That's a
capital
great
needs,
idea. Yeah.
quadruple or 10 times the cash on hand, and that we need every penny of that to preserve the history here. And so,
Great idea. I agree with that.
Finance committee is willing to give y'all all the money.
it's spent, trust me.
Yeah.
It's already
Well, just wait, we get a structural report back. Okay. Anything else? Finance, development, any of the committees? If not, Allison?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I am going to start off with, everyone is aware, it's sad news for us, but certainly understandable. We are going to be saying goodbye to Mike Hastings. Wednesday of next week will be his last day, and I just want to say, he has done, as everybody knows, an absolutely incredible job. He is a real North Star for us here, and we are definitely going to miss him, but certainly wish you very well in your future endeavors, and very happy you're doing that. And I know Mr. Chairman wanted to.
Mike, I particularly am appreciative of everything you've done here. I mean, just everything you do every day the Clamagore last year, the remediation this year, and then what you and your crew do just every week, and I can't begin to tell you how much we appreciate that. Personally, I want to thank you in particular for, and I think we all are very grateful. This is you stepped up a couple of years ago when Larry left and as the interim director, and I know for me that was a really big deal, although you were very reluctant to do it to begin with.
For obvious reasons.
It didn't seem like that to me, that hour phone conversation was trying to get you to do it. Seriously though, I appreciate how much you stepped up and did, and like you do everything else, a really, really good job. And I think too that as badly as we hate to see you go, to know what you're doing with your time, I think at a time our country really needs you.
Yes.
Is amazing. And we just appreciate everything.
Yep. I appreciate that. It is very difficult decision to move on. And I'll be brief because anything I say will be inadequate. I can't thank all the folks that over the past, and I just hit 9 years, and it's melancholy for sure, as you can imagine. Driving here today, what am I going to say? And I will not be able to adequately express all the things that I'm walking away with from Patriots Point. It's tough because it's worth doing. This is a great job, and I think, and I say this without one word of embellishment, it will be the most difficult problem you're going to have is you're going to have dozens of qualified applicants because this is an excellent job. There are people who are going to be jumping at this to work on the Yorktown and the Laffey and to work at this museum. It's a phenomenal position. Not fun every day. It's a challenge and it's frustrating, and I've had my fright. All of that. That's what makes it worth, because if you have to care, and I think that the folks that I've worked with absolutely care about this place, and that's why I had a hard time. I've had some melancholy moments walking the hangar deck and knowing that I won't be able to go behind the scenes or do the things I'm privileged to do now. So I do appreciate the last 9 years. It will serve me well moving forward. But it's when you know. And as you stated, Wayne, I've been asked to do something, so it was very hard to say no to that. So that's why I'm stepping away. But anyway, again, I'm not going to give a list of people. I'll miss somebody. I plan to thank those folks, but I appreciate that.
Mike, I see your finger there. Is that a gift you're taking away from
I was right. So what's the story? There was a burning building, catching babies, and handing off to firefighters, or I've gotten a bar fight. It was this is just a clumsy. Very clumsy yesterday morning, and spent about 5 hours in the emergency room. And of course, the most unfortunate finger.
Yes. stick it up there one more time. Farewell from Mike.
Glad that's not a parting
Somebody,
shot.
you got to know how to make an exit.
Very painful. I'll shut up now.
Thank you, Mike.
So with Mike moving on, one of Mike's many talents is he builds a great team. So we have people in place that are ready to go, and I wanted to introduce you to a couple of them. Hopefully you know them, but they tend to stay a little behind the scenes. So Mike has he is a division director. And his division is made up of two different houses, the maintenance side and the operations side. So on the maintenance side, our maintenance manager that is responsible for maintenance is David Coates. So David will continue in his role as maintenance manager. He is also going to be our project liaison for the SCORE project. He's already very involved with that and connected with that and knows what's going on. I just want to tell you a little bit about David. He was in the Navy for 6 years active and 4 years in reserve. He served on a Gearing-class destroyer similar to the Laffey, where he was a hull technician and damage controlman. He's worked in 4 shipyards. He was assistant hull supervisor at Denton's, and the hull shop consisted of ship fitters and welders manufacturing everything from new construction of tugboats to harbor dredges, and he managed several hundred craftsmen working on shipboard overhauls on commercial vessels from numerous countries, as well as U.S. Navy oil tankers, supply ships, barges, etc. He had his own business for a decade after the naval yard closed, which was a metal and fabrication business. He is also heavily involved in the Tin Can Sailors organization locally and has been providing military honors for veterans' funerals since 2006 as part of a veteran honor guard organization. You guys have probably heard David play the trumpet. So David has been with us at Patriots Point for it'll be 7 years next month. And we all know him very well around the ship, but a lot of times he's not as front facing. But David is well equipped to continue on in this role. Really understands the ship. So thank you, David, for all you do. We're just thrilled to have you on the team. So Mike was managing the division, but he was also acting as the operations manager. So he had 2 jobs that he was doing. So there is an operations manager position that is separate from the division director. And I want to, for those of you that don't know, Chris Jones is our public safety manager, and he is moving into the position of the interim ops manager. Chris has been with Patriots Point for 4 years. And prior to that, he was a police officer in New Jersey for 25 years. He worked a mile from New York City. That talk about great training. That's as good as it gets. And then did a year in private security before moving here. He managed over 100 accounts with 700 guards. Chris is incredibly well organized. He's very good at systems and at planning. He's a great team player. He's going to do a terrific job in this role as interim manager, and it's just great additions to the team. Really happy to have such good people on board. We are in good hands. We will be conducting a national search for Mike's replacement as division director. That job announcement will go out next week. So we are interested to see what that will bring, and certainly next month we'll have a full report on where we're going with that. So are there any questions about any of that? Because this is a big move for all of us here. Okay. So moving on, the chairman mentioned the Yorktown Association reunion. It was fantastic. That was the first year since 2019 that they have had a full-blown reunion, and boy did they have a good time. And we did with them. So one of the and thank you to all of you who came to some of the events and shared in some of that. That means so much to them. Saturday, we had the Yorktown Association meet and greet, which is something that we always do. We had 45 crew members sitting at tables for the public to meet. It went on for 4 hours. It was absolutely fantastic, and they loved every minute of it. And our visitors were so honored and pleased to get to take part in that. So that was a terrific event. A couple of other things. We had a Mount Pleasant Chamber of Commerce Chamber After Hours event. We partnered with Explore Charleston. Had a terrific event. Had one of their largest events that they've had. We had probably close to 90 people come to that event, and just great relationship building and community building there. Tomorrow evening is our Halloween event. It is now our 3rd annual Halloween event. And we are very excited to welcome all the little trick-or-treaters to the ship. We have one of our a new employee. He's been with us, but he's moved into a full-time role. Austin Poisson. He is our events and program coordinator. So now we have someone on staff whose job it is to be in charge of our public programs that are Patriots Point programs. That's something that we've really needed. So Austin does events, all our paid events and all of that. But he will also be the lead person on our events that Patriots Point generates. That's and he's doing a fantastic job. We are going to have a great crowd. It's going to be a lot of fun tomorrow night. It is 5:30 to 7:30.
Come early.
And it's just come, yeah, it's come whenever you show up. We've done staggered, we've done it a couple of different ways now. We're trying something a little different this year, with some more tables, some more activities, and just kind of changing things up, and really utilizing the entire ship. So we think it's going to be a great night. We're going to have good weather.
Does it cost?
No, it's free.
It's
It's a
free.
free event, and I will tell you, we put it out on social media. I think it was the only way that we announced it, and that people have to reserve a ticket, but there's no fee for it. In 2 days, it sold out in 2 days. 750 people, so very very popular. We have the Laffy Work Party in town, so they came in yesterday. And they will be here through the 28th. I know that some of you are going to be checking in with them and participating, and they have a lot of events. Their president, Mike Hunsinger, wanted to be here, but he had a full slate of activities this morning. But we are very happy to have them here. They do a great job, and they're hardcore. They weld. I mean, they do amazing things when they're here. So they're a great addition, and that's somebody David works really closely with those folks when they're here. Our volunteer appreciation cruise is coming up. That is November 8th. Thank you. So we hope we'll send something out to you all to make sure you have that on your calendars. Love to have y'all join. It is really special. We announced Volunteer of the Year at that, and the volunteers really, really enjoy it. Many thanks to the Yorktown Foundation for sponsoring that event for us. And then Veterans Day, we will have the Patriot Art Foundation here with Mary White. She is going to be conducting some painting exercises with veterans, and we're expanding it this year. And Susan, do you have anything that you want to add to that?
We right now are looking at 40 veterans.
That's awesome.
And what Mary has done is she's created a program, and she has a huge national presence now online. She's partnered with a company called Terracotta in Florida, and and also been connected to the VA, which was a big deal to get that designation with the VA. So now they're helping with these PTSD sort of PTS. I knew that was wrong. Veterans, and I think we've got 1,000 that have participated so far. So Mary's going to come. She's bringing another national artist, I can't remember his name, and they are going to instruct these veterans that come in a therapy kind of way. And ever since she was here last year, she has, I should get them for us, all these testimonials from the people who participated, how much that meant to them and how it helped them. And
Yes.
so
It was
thank
popular.
y'all for doing that.
Oh my gosh, we're so excited to host that again this year, and we're expanding it. Mary really had some big things she wanted to do that we're excited to support. So we're going to be in the theater, and there's going to be it's going to be a terrific day. So that's Veterans Day, and so I'm sorry.
10 o'clock.
10 o'clock, thank you. And then you have your list of shipwide events here, and also everyone got the reports, the board reports. So if you have, it's a more robust description of all the things going on. So very, very busy time, but very exciting. And I think with that, usually we like to do a little field trip around the museum after the board meets. So this month we are going to do an in-house field trip. So we have a brand spanking new technology system here in the boardroom. This is an upgrade. We've been talking about this. This is one of our major initiatives for this fiscal year, was to get this equipment in. And so I have asked Chris Coleman he's probably out there setting something up to come in and do a little dog and pony show on all the capabilities of the technology. I don't know where he got to.
He's
Probably setting
conducting.
up.
He's plugged in.
See, we have Command Central over there, so we can do a lot from that area.
I'll just say, Mr. Chairman, yesterday being the first maybe on the outside of it to watch, it was really remarkable. It was
Really?
very, yeah,
Good.
you could tell, and I love the perspective. I feel like sometimes when we were looking, anyways, it just seemed to be oriented really well. The sound was good quality. So,
Oh, that's
And
great
we'll
to
be
hear.
able to share, if someone's making a presentation here, we'll be able to share the screen.
Yeah.
I mean, so to make and we can do it while we're streaming.
Yes,
Everything works.
that's right.
Okay.
He's
So-
showing him how to do
It's
the
more
stream.
comfortable.
John wasn't here,
Oh,
so Eric's
yes.
taking over that.
Okay. So he's setting up the live stream.
Grab some more coffee.
They
while
will do a TV interview about the cruise ship.
So listen, we're not, we've already visited the subject. Y'all are late.
I know.
Is he coming in?
Did I say Tuskegee right a while ago?
I think so. It didn't strike me as.
Oh.
It wasn't like what I said.
Oh, well, after the, okay.
It wasn't like what I said.
All right.
Yes, TV.
Mr. Chairman, I'm sorry. Chris is operating the live stream, so he was set up to do this after
Okay.
executive session. So I'm sorry. That's fine.
No problem. Any questions of Allison? Any things that she brought? Tonight, are there any public comments? Hearing none, the chair will entertain a motion to go into executive session to seek some legal advice on contractual matters.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, ayes have it. We'll move in executive session. I don't anticipate that being too long.
next. We've got a lot of
Yeah.
problems in there.
Yeah.
It needs a but it's due. It's another one. It's time.
Streaming and all that stuff. By the
Okay.
way, Scrappy was a big hit at the Mount Pleasant Business Expo.
That sounded like a lot of fun.
That
I
was
was
fun.
sorry that I drove back in from Columbia right at 6:00 and missed it, but our team had a great time.
Because there's a hierarchy of mascots, right? The River Dog, I mean, that's a professional, and they're at a different level, but Scrappy was holding our own. I wanted to be Scrappy, but
That's
she wouldn't approve that.
Oh, I'd approve that.
That would be fun. Hot
would
as
be
blazes,
fun.
Steve.
I bet it thing stinks.
It was hot in there.
It does
Okay.
get dry cleaned.
Yeah.
Okay, we're back in open session. There were no votes taken in executive session. Is there any other business to come before the body? If not, our next meeting is November 17th. I would like to propose that we move the meeting time to 10 a.m. 10 or 10:30, but I was thinking 10 a.m. if that suits y'all. I think it would help with traffic coming into town a little bit. Is there any objections to that?
Support that.
Okay. 10 a.m. November 17th. All right. If there's no other business, we're adjourned.
Okay. Do we want to let